Hi, welcome to Storytime with the Wicklow County Council Library Service. My name is Loretta from the Wicklow branch, and today I'm going to be reading There's a Lion in the Library by David Skinner and illustrated by Aurelie Guillerey. This is Lucy Lupin, with her darling dimples, her charming freckles, and her adorable button nose. Little Lucy Lupin looks like the sweetest, nicest, loveliest little girl in the world. But she isn't. These are some of little Lucy Lupin's favorite things to do. But of all the terrible things little Lucy Lupin loves to do, her favorite is telling big, fat lies. One Monday morning, little Lucy Lupin walked into the library and said to the librarian, "There's a lion in the library. I saw him in the history section chewing on a book about the ancient Egyptians. Maybe he escaped from the zoo." The librarian took a good long look at little Lucy Lupin, at her darling dimples, and her charming freckles, and her adorable button nose. And then she climbed onto her chair and shouted, "Everybody out! This is an emergency! Please leave the library at once." Soon little Lucy Lupin found herself outside the library with all the people who'd wanted to be inside the library, while police officers and firemen and vets with nets searched the building. "Little girl, are you sure you saw a lion?" asked the chief fire officer. Little Lucy Lupin nodded her head. "Well, we can't find him," said the chief fire officer. "That naughty old lion must have snuck out the back door." And little Lucy Lupin laughed all the way home. The next day, little Lucy Lupin went back to the library and said to the caretaker, "There's a lion in the library. I saw him in the romance section, tearing up a book about a princess and a pirate. Maybe he escaped from the circus." The caretaker took a good long look at little Lucy Lupin, at her dimples and her freckles and her button nose. And then he pressed an alarm button and shouted, "The library is closing! Everybody out now!" The police officers and firemen and vets with nets searched the building, but they found no lion. And little Lucy Lupin laughed all the way home. On the third day, little Lucy Lupin skipped into the library and said to the coffee shop manager, "There's a lion in the library. I saw him in the geography section licking a book about oceans. Maybe he escaped from a ship." The coffee shop manager took a good long look at little Lucy Lupin, at her dimples, freckles, and button nose. And then he threw away the muffin he'd been eating and yelled, "There's a lion in the library! Run for your lives!" And so, for the third time, little Lucy Lupin waited outside the library while police officers and firemen and vets with nets searched the building. But they found no lion. And on the way home, little Lucy Lupin laughed so hard she nearly made herself sick. That night, the librarian, the caretaker, and the coffee shop manager got together to talk about the mystery of the lion in the library. At first, I didn't believe her, said the caretaker. But then I took a good long look at those darling dimples and charming freckles and adorable button nose, and I thought, this little girl looks so sweet and nice and lovely. She must be telling the truth. Me too, said the others. Said the librarian. You know, when I was a little girl, I was sweet and nice and lovely too. In fact, I was so sweet and nice, I could get away with just about anything. And one by one, they began to wonder. A few days later, little Lucy Lupin was in the library again when in through an open window jumped a real, live, genuine lion with a big bushy mane, long shiny claws, and sharp white teeth. "There's a lion in the library!" shouted little Lucy Lupin. "A lion? I doubt that very much," said the caretaker. "I don't think so," said the coffee shop manager. "I suppose he's chasing you around the library, swishing his tail and licking his lips," said the librarian. "Yes," cried little Lucy Lupin, "that's just what he's doing." "You are a very naughty little girl for telling such lies," said the librarian. And she went back to stacking her books, and the caretaker went back to mopping his floor, and the coffee shop manager went back to eating his muffin. And none of them thought any more about little Lucy Lupin until suddenly they heard what sounded very much like the roar of a lion. But by then it was too late. And you know what? Little Lucy Lupin wasn't sweet or nice or lovely. But she sure was delicious. The end. I hope you enjoyed that book, and it was about a library too. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.